Let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. Trump actually calls for the resignation of the CNN host, or no, MSNBC host, who decided to have a disgusting take on DJ Daniels, a kid with brain cancer. Donald Trump just slamming MSNBC. I'll show another clip of him slamming CNN as well. Let's go.
Okay, too.
Thank you,
And
Mr. President.
I speak to him a lot.
Regarding this executive order you signed revoking security clearances at Perkins Coie, do you think there should be more steps like this to be taken against other people involved in the Russia collusion?
I do, but that's going to be up ultimately to the Attorney General and various other people.
Absolutely. Just as a follow-up, the other night, we saw Democrats' behavior during your joint address to Congress.
Yeah.
Do you think it shows just how out of touch they are with the American people, especially given that 79%, according to a CBS poll, approved of your speech?
I love this guy. Who are you with?
My name's Nick Gilbertson with Breitbart News.
I see. I really liked your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Sir, regarding the executive order.
The answer is just, Nick, just to, and I know your name very well. Good job, you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, the answer is I thought it was very embarrassing for the Democrats what happened the other night. And that's not said for any other reason other than it's obvious, it's fact. Even CNN fake news said that. They came out and they said it. And worse than CNN is MSDNC, which is the worst. And the good news is very few people watch them anymore. They have lost such credibility. And frankly, what Nicole Wallace said, I've never been a fan of hers, and she's not very talented. But I'll tell you, what she said the other day about that young man is disgraceful. She should be forced to resign. And Rachel Maddow should be forced to resign. Nobody watches her anyway. I don't know if it's not possible they pay her as much money as I hear, but certainly she's lost all credibility, both of them. But what they said the other day, they should be forced to resign about that young person who is suffering greatly. Thank you, Nick.
Will you extend, if a TikTok deal is not made on the timeline you gave, will you extend that?
Probably, yeah.
You will.
I think, look, we have a lot of interest in TikTok. And China is going to play a role. And so hopefully China will approve of the deal. But they're going to play a role. But we have a lot of interest in TikTok.
How long will you extend it and how close are you to a deal?
Well, we'll see. But if I need, right now we have at least another month, so we don't need an extension. But if I needed an extension, I'd probably get it extended. Yeah,
Can't believe this guy's gonna buy TikTok. He's just gonna buy it. Can't wait. It becomes the new Truth Social. Can't wait, man. But funny enough, Rachel Maddow catches a stray for absolutely no reason. I mean, she's terrible. She is terrible, but she wasn't even involved. She was just listening to Nicole Wallace say the thing, and Trump's like, she should resign too. He's like, get them all out of here. Get them all out of here. What do we need these guys for? And it's true. That behavior, it just shows. I just did an episode on the main channel with Joe Rogan, Andrew Schultz. They were talking about Democrats needing to learn certain things. And I just went through a whole bunch of clips of just showing how they just haven't learned, and that what happened at that speech was beyond a perfect example. It was everything. And I think I've said it. And you've heard it before. I'm sorry, but it just shows that they're more interested in what they want and their agenda than they are in the American people and what the American people need, And you could argue both sides are like that. But I see a lot of people on the right, that keep on bringing up the Constitution. And the thing about the Constitution is whatever your agenda is, if you're trying to uphold the Constitution, it's above everything. So you can't use that for your agenda, really, if you're upholding the Constitution. If you're saying, let's do what's right for the American people. If you're talking about freedom of speech. Those things, depending on if you get nefarious or not, they'll stand against you. So when I see people on the right trying to uphold the Constitution, RFK has talked heavily about it being the top thing. During the pandemic, he kept on talking about it is absolute. It is above every single law. Tulsi Gabbard's brought it up repeatedly. Pam Bondi, like her or love her for handling of the Epstein files, she's brought it up repeatedly. Kash Patel has told the entire FBI that they are now upholding the Constitution. They will obey the Constitution. Everything that they do will be around that. So you're seeing a lot of people in Trump's camp talking about the Constitution, upholding that. Senator Mike Lee, he has a extensive knowledge of the Constitution. So when you see people like that, you kind of have to say, okay, they have an interest in America, because that document, if you're on the right and you're trying to uphold that document and you decide to get nefarious, well, that document's going to stop you in your tracks. But you never really hear people on the left, unless they're trying to weaponize it, you never really hear them trying to uphold the Constitution. And again, that whole speech, everything we saw in that speech, it showed perfectly what they were concerned about. When something was brought up that benefited Americans, they didn't clap. When something was brought up that benefited, just a person, Laken Riley's parents, they didn't clap. The kid with the brain cancer, they didn't clap. But talking about money going to Ukraine, that whole thing that's actually impacted Americans negatively, that they applauded. It just shows. It shows perfect. And I don't know. It's like, do they see it? Do they know that's what they're doing? Do they not care? I don't really know, man. Honestly, I'll show another clip. I want to jump over here. Forgive me if you've seen this already, but I want to jump over there, but I'm going to show this clip first. It's Trump slamming CNN.
On the minerals deal, Mr. President, some of those minerals are in the east of Ukraine, not far from the front lines and in areas that Russia has occupied. Will you direct President Putin to withdraw his forces from those areas if there's U.S. interest there?
Well, we'll take a look at the time. We have a lot of area. It's a very big area we're talking about, so we'll take a look. I'll study that and I'll see.
And who would protect those minerals if they are U.S. interests? Would that be Ukrainian forces, European forces?
The agreement will protect them.
U.S. forces?
Agreement, yeah, we're signing an agreement.
Right, but what if Russia tries to invade or there's Russian aggression in those spots? What would you do?
I just told you, I don't think that's going to happen. And if that were going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal. If I thought that was going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal.
Some people may wonder why.
They ought to focus on CNN on survival, not asking me these ridiculous questions.
Why you have confidence that Putin won't violate a deal?
Focus on surviving, because CNN's got such low ratings. I don't think they're going to survive.
People will ask why you have confidence Putin won't violate the deal.
I already mentioned.
This guy said focus on survival. Oh my gosh. You need to focus on survival, and it's 100% true. More than any other network, they have to actually focus on survival. I started realizing it's because they don't do any TV programming, whereas ABC, MSNBC, they have NBC, so they actually do quite a bit of television programming, and they have streaming services that are actually doing quite well. So they have that income to keep them afloat, as well as things that are in the background that, you'd have to put on a tinfoil Speedo and swim pretty deep to really find, but I think there's some things in the background keeping them afloat as well. But yeah, just Trump getting at it again. And he's getting at it because it's Caitlin Collins. You know what I mean? I mean, as handsome as she is, Trump still hasn't forgotten what she said to him during that whole town hall. CNN got a chance. CNN got a chance to do a great town hall, and they decided to put her on. They shouldn't have put her on. They should have used someone else. And it doesn't matter who it is. They're all very combative when it comes to Trump. But again, back to the whole thing of Democrats just not learning. This is an opportunity right here. And I don't think people understand this. This is an opportunity to speak to the people. When someone from the press comes to talk to you, it is an opportunity for the people to hear what you have to say, to see how you act. And this is how they decide to do it. All except, I will say, John Fetterman.
Clap. I did clap when he said that the United States had supported you.
Johnny from Fox. What could Donald Trump do that'll make you clap?
Thank you very much.
What could Donald Trump do that'll make you clap?
I did clap when he said that the United States had supported Ukraine and given them lots of
Well, why not for Laken Riley's mom? How was that speech last night? Did you love it?
Well, I watched it. I don't think that was the best look for our party last night.
Very disappointing.
So you didn't stand up for anything?
The president got before the American people, didn't talk about how he could drive down grocery prices.
Senator, why weren't you standing yesterday for anything?
Very important hearing right now. on anti-Semitism.
But you didn't stand for anything at the speech last
I don't know
night.
what you're talking about, where you got that information.
Well, there was nothing.
What you're talking about, where you got that information, they could see you. They could see you. Don't you think it would be front page news if just she stood up and was clapping every time? Everybody would be like, who is this lady? She's the one Democrat who decided to do the right thing in the face of, Laken Riley's parents. There were some people who had lost a family member. I don't think it was Laken Riley's family. I think there was another family. And you could tell one of the sisters was looking at that side of the aisle, and she was very angry with what she was seeing. The fact that they wouldn't clap, that they wouldn't look up to them, nothing. She was very upset. And because, mom lost a kid, it's like, they're just not doing the right thing. And again, when you're seeing this, opportunity for the people to actually hear you. They're skirting these questions. They're walking away. They really have to make the connection that when they're doing this to the press, they are doing this to the public. It's just flat out the way it is. When you give the press time, you're giving the public an experience of yourself. You're giving them explanations behind what you do. You see Trump, like this clip that I have here. This is him taking questions for an hour. What is this? 53 minutes. And how many times have we seen him do this already? How many times? Countless times while he's signing executive orders. It seems like it's happening like 3 times a week that he's doing this type of thing. So whether you like him or not, at least, even if you didn't like him, you could still hear what he has to say. You could still hear explanations. But when people walk away, when they do what these guys are doing, it's a complete insult to the people. And they just haven't grasped that yet. They think, oh, this guy's asking questions. They think they're just shooing away this guy. But it's more than that. It's so much more than that. And they still haven't picked up on that, which is the reason why they didn't do any podcasts during the whole campaigning. That's the reason. Because they don't understand that the people are listening. And the people really want to hear what they have to say.
The president had to say
Laken Riley's mom,
either
you didn't stand for her.
Factual or truthful or anything like that.
I have to interrupt again. See, Adam Schiff, he just said, I didn't hear the president say anything factual or truthful. He was talking about Laken, are you trying? In his hatred for Trump, he's denying the people who lost family members. He's actually denying Laken Riley's parents. He's denying the other family, and I'm so sorry I don't know their names. He's denying all of that is like, nah, I didn't hear anything truthful. They were there. The parents were there. There's angel moms there, man. It's silly. It's silly. At this point, it looks ridiculous. It looks un-American.
We applauded.
You don't think it's worthy to stand up for her like everyone else?
We should applaud.
I need you to move.
Congressman, why didn't you stand for the speech?
The first thing she did was push him. She's the worst. She's hands down the worst. The first thing she does is push him.
Have a good day. I need to go to a meeting.
80% of the American people, according to CBS.
What even makes her think she can do that? I know I'm interrupting a lot. I'm sorry. But I'm doing what every other person does, actually. But what even makes her think she could do that? She could see somebody and just go like this. Actually, I got to go to a meeting. You can't do that. You can ask him to move back, but you can't just put your hands on him. Imagine he did that to her. Imagine he was standing in the way and he actually went like this and actually asked her a question. She'd want him in handcuffs.
Loved the speech.
Again, I don't think with the United States.
Are the Democrats out of touch?
The United States of America. Forgive me for going here. Forgive me for being out of breath.
I don't know what speech.
This guy slapped his microphone. These guys are unhinged. They're just unhinged people. It's so wild.
They were watching.
They were watching the president's speech, Senator.
Really? Wasn't worth watching.
Why was Al Green so disrespectful?
You got to ask Al Green.
So I just pulled up to Congressman Al Green's office, went inside, see if he wanted to talk, because he did a lot of talking at the joint address, but they shooed me away. They said, we're not talking to Johnny. What was wrong with those Democrats? They couldn't stand last night?
Well, I think people got to see the difference between conservative Republicans and liberal Democrats. Liberal Democrats are miserable people.
I bet their butts were sore sitting that long.
Why do you want men and women's sports?
Therefore, I
Senator.
Go, aloha.
Why do you want men and women's sports, Senator?
Thank you.
Congressman, how are you?
Okay, thank you.
Congressman, why should men be in women's sports?
Shorts?
Sports. Why do you think
They should not be in shorts.
Senator, why are we paying for Sesame Street in Iraq?
I do not know that is true, so I'm not going to say yes or no.
You don't trust.
Why are these people in charge? Why are they in charge? You ever wonder that? If they get to act like this, if they don't answer any of your questions, and they treat the press like this, why are they in charge? Like, how does this continue? What I've said it before. Why is there this weird managerial class that gets to be in their positions forever until they're just using a walker, and they act similar to royalty? Why do they get to do that? I don't get it, man. I'm firm. I think they should be switched out. No matter what, good or bad job, you should be switched out every 2 years. That way you can't get too complacent. You have to actually do good work, and you just go back to society. And you don't get the footing. You don't get any security clearance. You're out. You're just out. Jury duty. Done. You're a juror on a case. You don't get to walk back into the courtroom and be like, oh, I just want to look at some files here. They're like, get out of here. Your job's done. That's exactly what it should be. I'm telling you, man. It should. It should. This is ridiculous.
The Doge findings.
I don't really have an opinion on that. And I work in a business. I think it requires, we don't have to have an opinion on everything.
Do you have an opinion on Jesse Waters?
Oh, yeah. I wish I had his hair.
You know, I've talked a lot of smack about Fetterman, but he's a funny guy at times, and he was the one guy who was willing to actually just stand with this guy. You know, it seems like they're just in some corridor or something like that, and he's willing to actually just sit there and converse with them. You know, only guy that was really willing to do that on the Democrat side. He seems like the only one that's learning, but it seems like he's always kind of been like that, quite honestly, to his credit. But I just don't get how, you know, they get in and then they just don't have to answer to you at all. And then in a lot of cases they feel, especially in this case of a Trump administration, they feel like they don't even have to answer to the president. It's such a weird system. But again, this is all just to show they haven't learned. And, you know, the behavior was disgraceful. But here's the thing. We just saw it in Trump's speech where it was one side to the other. And we saw one side applauding and everything. And to the point, you know, you're a Republican. You can't really just sit down and not do anything. I mean, maybe there was one or two. I don't know. But you can't really be on that side and be doing that. But it's just, I don't know, man. It seems like they're always like this. They're always like this. You know? They do this continuously. And there's nothing, I guess I won't say there's nothing you can do about it. I guess, you know, they can get primaried. You can remember that these people do get voted in and voted out. You can remember that, remember seeing this and actually vote accordingly, see younger faces, vote them in, find out where they're from, where they're getting their money, how are they running. There's things you can do, but I don't get it, man. I don't get how they don't learn. I don't get how so many people, how did the left get so un-American? It used to be the very American side. It used to be just beyond peace and love. Everything that you see the right standing for. If you're young, you know, especially older people, chime in here. But if you're young, it used to just be the left was all about bodily autonomy. Like, you're not putting anything inside me. No, you're not. I don't care what the situation is. It used to be complete anti-war. It used to be complete anti-corporation. It just, how did it more? Like, I guess the answer is money, greed, morph them. And honestly, some Marxism as well. Because you see that in the younger ones. I don't know, man. But Trump was right for calling it out, calling out the behavior, and showing true colors. I guess it's a good thing. It means they won't win next time around. Anyway,